Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your registered migration agent here. Today I would like to take some time to explain a little bit of the eligibility and criteria required to be an employer sponsor. Because during the past few years there has been a lot of visa applications, and especially on the sponsorship and nomination has been, well, not successful. I can't say that they are all rejected, but sometimes visa applicants are well educated because there are so many platform and information on the internet and medias that visa applicant can actually read about, but there's no actual platform and media to actually direct the employer sponsor into all these criteria requirements. So I'm very often and frequent being asked by Australian employers to see how they could actually meet these requirements. So today I would like to take some time to explain a little bit of what is required to be a eligible and valid employer sponsor, so you can sponsor the overseas skilled workers for your business, whether or not you're in a CBD area or regional Australia. Okay, so let's jump into the visa web page to have a look into these stuff. Now, again, we're in the Department of Home Affairs website. Now, I'm taking you to see the actual TSS temporary skill shortage visa under subclass 482, the medium term stream. So it will be the same for all the employer anyhow, because I have just ticked the sponsor here, the little radio button here. Now, if you do want to have the web page, leave a comment. I can send this to you anyway. So there are numbers of different things that we are required to go through. So let's go one by one. So first of all, you have to be a standard business sponsor. Now, what is required to be a standard business sponsor? Basically, you're required to show your active and lawful operational status of the business. So how do you do that? So you need to require to provide your ASIC registration, trading name registration, which we can easily search over ABN lookup on the on the internet, and of course your previous company tax returns, financial statements over the past couple of years. I would say the minimum provide 2 years, but if you don't have that much, or if you are only a newly established business, you need to demonstrate at least, I would say, minimum of 2 BASs. So that's 2 quarters. That's 6 months of taxed activities. Okay, now there is an opportunity to become an accredited sponsor. Now I will not go into detail about this one, because this one is actually for a very large corporations to actually be accredited sponsor. So generally 90% of the business out there will be under standard business sponsor here. So nominate the worker for the eligible occupation. So I won't go into these detail. Obviously, if you're a restaurant or cafe, you can only nominate a cafe, a restaurant manager, and chef. Now, obviously, can't nominate accountants. And if you're an accountancy, you cannot nominate a chef. Okay, so it's pretty common sense here. Now, the third one says be unable to find Australian workers. So how do you do that? Now, you're required to demonstrate a labor market test, meaning that you're required to actually get into detail of putting a job ads. A paid job ad is required. Okay, it cannot just be a Gumtree free job ads. It has to be a paid job ads, and you have to show the recruitment efforts by providing all the resume or CV you have collected into interview procedures. Well, it doesn't have to be a very complicated report, but you have to show that interview had took place, which a trained migration agent should be able to help you out on that. Okay, and you have to show that these CV of these candidates received are not eligible to actually meet the skill set that you require. For instance, it's very easy to do this in regional Australia, where you probably need a qualified accountant, but in your town you probably cannot even find a skilled accountant. Okay, so you can do that. Now every different industry have different requirement. Another example, you might have a Japanese restaurants. Now you're required to find a Japanese chef, a sushi chef, and you cannot find them. There's no locally trained sushi chef, and so then you can actually sponsor a sushi chef there. Okay, now the fourth category is pay annual market salary rate. So it's pretty common. Okay, so you cannot do a low pay and things like that. And the fifth one, genuine position available. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that it's not a position created for the sole purpose of just getting someone a visa. So you have to show that the position has been existed for past records, and just suddenly cannot find them. But there's always a question saying, look, what if there's an expansion business that are coming up and you require a further role? Then obviously a additional report required to be conducted or then submitted, showing that in your area for that particular section of business, it's generally required that kind of position, and you cannot find that kind of skilled workers in the regions. Okay, now obviously the next one is engage normally under written contract. That's pretty straightforward, because you obviously can't engage someone to work without any written contract here. Well, you can, but the requirement, you have to have a formal written contract, so there's a contract in place. Okay, not engage in discriminatory practice. So obviously you cannot treat workers. This is just for the fair work legislative requirement here. Employment condition must be equivalent to Australian work, so you cannot do a low pay and things like that, and no adverse information. Obviously the company has been conducted lawfully and there is no adverse information there. Now the other part here is once you do the nominations, they will be required to provide a skilled Australian fund, which is required by the nominated sponsor to actually lodge that there. Now I want to take detail into a lot of people are actually putting a query on is the Designated Area Migration Agreement, which is the initiative that the government have put in place to assist a particular area, a regional area, a designated regional areas. For instance, at the moment, the whole Northern Territory is under the Designated Area Migration Agreement. Just say the short term is DAMA. Okay, now the upcoming one will be Adelaide, South Australia. There's a part of Victoria, part of New South Wales, and also part of Western Australia, and upcoming of the northern part of Queensland as well. So obviously, whatever that we have chatted about previously of the eligibility of these employers are required to be met. So DAMA actually lowers the requirements, but then you have to go through two phases. You can see here phase 1 and phase 2. You're required to go through your local government and get that approval, then enter into labor agreement with Department of Immigration and nominating whatever the role that you require. So generally it will actually help out a lot of businesses in the regional area. However, this idea has been coined for 6 months already. So at this point in time, there's only Northern Territory is active. Okay, oh no, hold on a second. There's an open for application. There are only 2 operators, so Northern Territory and Great South Coast region is actually active, and all the other one are still waiting and pending. So once these regions, as you can see, these regions are available and you are a business owner in those regions, more than happy to inquire. If you do need assistance, question, queries, put in comment here. We will be able to assist you as well. Okay, so today's video basically tells you what the sponsor, employer sponsor, is actually required to have in place to actually sponsor. Now, I do notice there is a legislative changes coming out in November. There will be an additional measure where the company or the business sponsor required to show that the business is actually foreseeable to be operating for the next 5 years. Now, I don't have the detailed policy of how the government will actually monitor and actually supervise that kind of category of requirement, and whether or not that category of regulatory requirement will be passed. Let's wait and see. So anyway, if you do like our videos, well, more than happy for you to actually go to our Facebook to actually put a thumbs up and become our fan, and also on our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel. And so once we got all the news, you'll be the first one to get it. Okay, thank you very much for watching our video. I shall see you for our next episode. Thank you. Bye.